Conan Doyle, a British writer and medical doctor, was born in Scotland in 1859. He created the character Sherlock Holmes and the most famous stories about Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes was a very good detective, and Conan Doyle's stories about him were exciting, mysterious, full of adventure. Sherlock Holmes solved crimes with help of his friend, Dr. Watson. Arthur Conan Doyle went to university in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. There is a statue of Sherlock Holmes in the center of the city. Arthur Conan Doyle moved to the south of England after university and became doctor. He wrote stories about Sherlock Holmes in his free time. The first story about Sherlock Holmes was called A Study in Scarlet. Arthur Conan Doyle wrote 25 Sherlock Holmes stories between 1885 and 1895. But he didn't want to write anymore. In the story, the final problem, Holmes and Watson traveled to Switzerland. Here Holmes meets his enemy, Professor Moriarty, and they fight and die right back in Waterfalls. But many people didn't like this, and they wrote so many letters to Conan Doyle that he changed his mind. And he continued writing his Sherlock Holmes mysteries until 1920, 25 years later. Many people around the world still love the character Sherlock Holmes. In the stories, he lived in 221B Baker Street in London. Today, the house of his address is a museum, and people all over the world visit it. Lots of people take photographs outside the museum. They dress up in Sherlock's famous hat and pipe. A museum guide dresses as a policeman from the time of Sherlock Holmes. The museum is open every day of the year except Christmas Day. Inside the museum, you can buy souvenirs and Sherlock Holmes books. There are now many films and TV programs about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. From 1939 to 1946, Basil Rathbone played Sherlock Holmes in 14 films. In 2009, Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law played Holmes and Watson in a Hollywood blockbuster. And in 2010, the BBC made a modern-day version in a 3-part TV drama. Arthur Conan Doyle died in 1930 here in Sussex, the south of England. The memory of Arthur Conan Doyle and his famous detective lives up.